Hello, Chris. Welcome to Bucharest, Romania.
Thank you very much. Hi.
Congratulations for Junction 55.
Yes, it's not out yet, but it's coming soon.
Please tell me a few words about the new album and the two songs released.
About
the two songs, the crazy, crazy.
Yeah, the two singers. Well, it's an album which I recorded over the last year, gradually, in my own studio. I just recorded when I had some time, and because there was nobody else there but me, I played all the different instruments too. So it's a kind of a self-made album, you know. And I just had new songs. I wrote 12 new songs, which I'm very happy with the songs. I wrote more songs than that, but they're the ones that are, my favorite songs. And then I just recorded them. They're all different kinds of songs. Some are a bit rocky, some are more slow. I already put out two sort of previews to the album, two singles. One was called Tell Her She Can, which was written with me and Pete Spencer, who was the original drummer with Smokey. And we used to write a lot together in the 70s, so we haven't written so much together this last few years, but we wrote 3 songs for this album. The Tell Her She Can was one of them. There's another couple of songs on the album which we wrote together as well. So that was the first one. And it was just like, Tell Her She Can's kind of like a almost folky kind of song.
Sounds like old Smokey songs.
Yeah, I didn't intend it to sound like an old Smokey song. I suppose that because me and Pete wrote it, it has that sound to it anyway, because we wrote a lot of those songs that were on albums over the years with Smokey. So it has that kind of sound because of that, I think. But it's a kind of a folky song. The next one, or the one that's out now, the single called Crazy, which the single came out just now, and the video will be out in a few days' time. The video will be on YouTube. That's just about about the craziness of the world we live in, and it's just all kinds of different things about how things are. The world's gone mad, and sort of lists of things that are crazy, and that's a bit more rocky, a bit more rocky. And I just wrote that. I started to write that during COVID, actually. And then I put it to one side, and then I came back to it and changed some of the lyrics that I'd written about COVID, about queuing up for your vaccination, all that was in it. But I took that out and made it sort of more about current things that are happening now. So that's Crazy. I've got another one, another leader, another song that's a preview to the album will come out after that, which is called In a Heartbeat. And that's about my life, looking back over my life from how quickly it went and how quickly it's gone since we were kids, running around doing stuff, and then it was gone in a heartbeat. And then there's a couple of others. There's another one coming out at the beginning of the year, another single before the album, called Picture of You, which is a love song. And then there's a bunch of more songs. So the idea is to give people an appetite for the album, so that they hear the different songs and hopefully like them, and then they want to hear more. And then the album comes out, and there'll be another 8 that they haven't heard yet. So there's 12 songs on the album, and one song on the album I wrote with Mike Chapman when I was working with him a couple of years back, but didn't finish it, and then I just finished it off. That's called Devil in Your Heart. So there's some great songs on there, I think. And
you talked about your family. How do you manage the balance between your personal life and music career?
Well, it's what I've always done, and it's easier now than it was when I was in my 20s, because during the headlong rush of Smokey, what happened with us, I was away. We were always doing something. Every day we had loads of different things to do. We'd be doing a press conference, then we'd be doing a photograph session, then we'd do a TV show, then we'd do a gig, and then the next day it would be another bunch of things. So we were always doing stuff, and I'd get home for like 2 or 3 days, and then I'd be away again, and then we'd go on tour for 4 or 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks sometimes. Then I'd get a week off to go home. It's not as bad as that now, you know. I don't have that much work. I don't take that much work on anyway. So the good thing is that when I'm not actually gigging and doing concerts and live shows, I have more time to write and record, and because I do it at my own studio, I don't have to go anywhere for that. So, you know, I have time now, more time, and they're all grown up. All the kids are grown up, so
Together with music.
yeah, they know what it's all about, and they don't care where I am anyway most of the time.
Please tell me, how have you adapted to musical changes, and how do you see the evolution of pop rock music since you started playing?
You adapt as you go along, because different styles of music come along, you know. Like in the 80s, I was doing stuff like Midnight Lady, which was kind of appropriate for the time. But eventually I kind of stopped taking much notice about what was going on, and just recorded songs and wrote songs that I felt came from me, you know. So I don't take too much notice of... I'm too old to be thinking about what's the thing that's the fashion now, you know, what's the thing that young people want to hear. It doesn't really apply to me anymore, you know. It's more like what do the people who want to see me want to hear, you know, the fans. And they're a lot older, so their musical tastes have matured as well. So, you know, I don't take... Obviously the technology of recording is different, because I could never have made an album on my own at home back in the old days. I couldn't have done it, because you had to have a big studio with massive rooms and big desks and big recording machines and stuff. So you needed lots of different people to work all that. And now you can do it on a computer with a program. I've got Pro Tools is the sort of one of the programs you can use, which is what I use. And so you can sit like at a desk, as long as you've got your keyboards and your guitars there and everything else, and you can just work the desk yourself and record different things. So the technology is so much more advanced, and you can do things like, if you do something wrong, you can, or you do an arrangement, you think that bit should have been earlier, you can grab all of it and move it, you know, stuff like that. So it's very convenient, you know. I kind of miss those old days a little bit, because there was a kind of an atmosphere that you don't get now from recording. Not if you do it the way I've just done it, but you can still record like we used to. When I did the album Just a Man, we did that like the old way, all bunch of musicians and engineers and everything in a big studio with a big desk, and we did it that way, and that was fun. But you can do it without that now. That's the difference.
What do you think is your best song?
I always like the ones I'm doing, you know, the ones that are coming out now. I think In a Heartbeat, which is coming out in December, I'm proud of that. I'm proud of writing that. And quite a lot of this stuff on this album I'm very happy about. If you ask me what's my favourite song of all the songs I ever recorded, probably, of the Smokey songs, I think If You Think You Know How to Love Me is still my favourite song, because it was the first big hit we had, and it's still got a very nice sound to it and an atmosphere. So yeah, that one probably.
What is the story of this song?
Well, I didn't write that one. That was written by Mike Chapman and Nicky Chin. So it's just a love song. Some guy saying to his girlfriend, you know, you got to show me how to, if you think you know how to love me, you better show me how. That's basically what it's about. But I didn't write that one.
I saw today a lot of fans in front of the hotel waiting for you. Could you tell us what is the best memory related to a fan?
Best memory? I don't know what the best memory is. You know, I've been sort of well known now, some places more than others, and sometimes more than other times, but nearly since 1975. So there's lots of things that have happened, and you know, things like with fans. There was one time there was we were staying in a hotel and a fan was going to jump out the window if she didn't get to meet me. And we got a call from the hotel management, can you come and talk her down because we don't know what to do. And I had to go up into this room and she was actually stood on the window, you know, like, I thought, oh shit, this isn't going to look good in the papers, you know. So, and I just said, I'm here, come on, come down, you know, everything's fine. And she was crying and everything, she came down. And as soon as she got off the window, I said, bye-bye. No, I didn't. I said, you know, you don't need to do that, you know, it's just not a good idea, it's not worth it. You know, in a few years' time, she was only like 15 or something. You know, in a few years' time, I'll be history, you won't even think about it, you know. So, but you know, you get these different things where, you know, we had a situation where we were with Smokey when we came out of we were playing in Carlisle, which is a big town in the north of England, and we finished the show and there was screaming and stuff, and we came out, they rushed us out this back door into a limousine. We had this limousine, and I don't go in for limousines these days, but in those days we did. So we all piled into this limousine, and there was crowded around. It was like in a really small street, and people were crowded and banging on them, boom, 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 boom. It was, Chris, Alan, you know, and all that. And so the driver said, come on, we got to go. And we started to drive, and they were screaming. I mean, like at a Beatles concert, you know, like it was screaming like that. And all of a sudden we heard this scream that seemed to be louder than everybody else's scream. And the police were there, you know, the police came out and said, stop. And what we'd done is when we got in the car, we'd shut the door, and one of the girls had got a coat trapped in the door. And when we set off, we were pulling her along the ground, you know. So, of course, we stopped, and an ambulance took her to hospital. So the next day we had to leave because we were going to another gig, but we went to the hospital first, and she was fine. She was just happy that she was on the TV, you know, because it was filmed, you know, I was going to bring her some flowers and that, and she was big smiles, and she was fine. But those are the kind of things, you know, you got to remember in those days, you know, when we were at our peak with Smokey, it was a teeny thing, it was a teenage thing. Now it's like the audience are like in the 50s or whatever, you know. But in those days, they were teenagers, you know, so they got very excited to see their pop idols. It was great fun. It was like, you know, when you start out being in a group, or trying to be in a group, we were only kids ourselves. We were like, when we first started the group, we were like 15 years old. By the time we went professional, we were like 17, 18 years old. And by the time we were having hits, we were still I was 24 when our first hit was in the charts. So I was only 24. We were all kids ourselves, really. And it was exciting. It was very exciting because it was what we dreamed of when we were at school, you know, watching people like the Beatles and the Rolling Stones or whoever it was, Elvis, watching them getting screamed and all that. And suddenly it was happening to us. So it was a very exciting time.
It's not about you, but you said Beatles. What do you think about the new single?
Oh, I love it because, I mean, you know, I'm a massive Beatles fan, huge. So anything that comes out that's new, you know, I mean, in England they had a thing where they announced it on TV and they showed a little film of them making it and how they made it and everything else. And then they said, the first play of it anywhere in the UK will be tomorrow afternoon on Radio 2, BBC Radio 2, at 2 o'clock. So I made sure I set an alarm so I didn't miss it. I wanted to hear it, you know. And I love it. I mean, it's the song itself, I think, if you would have taken that out of context and put it into any other situation, the song isn't the best song in the world that the Beatles have ever done. But it's amazing that they could do it at all and separate John Lennon's voice the way that they did. And then do what they've done to it. It sounds like a Beatle record. So I had tears in my eyes when I was hearing it.
The story is bigger than the song.
Yeah, it's a huge story. And imagine after all this time, you know, John Lennon's been dead since 1980, and George has been, what did he die in 91 or 2 or something like that? Very early on. So, and he was only 57 or 8 or something like that, I think. And to think that all that time later, now in 2023, we can have a brand new Beatle record with all 4 of them on it. Who would have thought? It's amazing.
Chris, are you a football fan?
Yeah.
Who is your favorite team?
England.
No, actually.
I know what you mean. No, but I love England because, you know, I love watching England play, especially these days because they've got some really good new players over the last few years. But I actually, I don't really have a team that I support only. When you're a kid, you go, like my 2 sons are massive Liverpool fans. So they just want Liverpool to win, and that's it, right? Liverpool. But I like a few teams. I like Liverpool because they do and I do as well. But and I also made a record with Liverpool many years ago. I made a single, and I went to Anfield with a mobile recording studio and recorded 1984. I recorded the Liverpool team singing this song that I'd written with Pete Spencer called Liverpool. So I've got a connection to them for that reason. So them, but I really like watching Newcastle. I'm a big fan of Newcastle.
Good. Thank you very much. Do you have a message for our for Romanian fans?
Well, thank you for coming to see me. I'll do it here. Hi, everybody. Chris Norman here. It's great that you are coming to see me at concerts and everything. Please keep on doing that. I love it. And when I come on stage, I will play all the songs that you love, or as many as I can get in. And I hope to keep on doing it many, many, many more times. Bye-bye.